And we are good.
Okay. So Park and Rec Commission, we have audience of citizens. Oh, Don just joined. I see
Oh,
his
perfect.
name. I don't see you. Don, you there?
We now have
Yep.
quorum.
Yes, I am.
Okay, oh, there you are. How you doing?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Done.
Good. Okay, we have Peter Zarabazo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but for audience of citizens. And Peter, can you hear me?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, I'm Donna Bove. The commission is on virtually, and so why don't you go ahead?
Okay, my name is Peter Zarabozo. I reside at 158 Elwood Road in Berlin. I'm just coming to the commission to clarify a couple things and also with a slight question proposal. I'm looking at the Percival Pool and Fields property along Percival Ave. And I'm wondering if the Parks and Rec Commission would entertain the idea of establishing some type of small walking trail through that property that is already city-owned. The reason I bring this up is because, as you may know, Percival Avenue is a non-sidewalked portion of the town. A lot of people use it recreationally to navigate throughout the neighborhoods in that part of town and around the town hall complex. Because the Parks and Rec Commission already has possession of those properties, to my knowledge, I'm wondering if there is any commitment to perhaps building or utilizing some type of simple trail to mitigate pedestrian traffic off of the road and allow for more recreational use. Specifically, I am looking at possibly, I'm envisioning the trail coming off of Carbo Lane, cutting through block 54 of the Percival Pool parking lot area, along the perimeter of the baseball fields and/or soccer fields, and coming out on Lawndale Street. My question to the commission is if you have purview over the old Knights of Columbus building property, I think that's what it is. And what your thoughts are, or if that's something you'd even be willing to entertain before I go forth to the Conservation Commission and other entities to get feedback.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Jen?
Yep, Stephen, you want to handle this one?
Yes. So currently, right now, we are in design bid to redo Percival Soccer Field. Through that, Jim Mahoney is looking to connect the back path that goes from Percival Soccer into Town Hall Complex, will lead you to all the sidewalks along Kensington Road, Carriage Drive, Timberwood, and all the way down through Main Street. And that's that plan. The parcel of property where the Knights of Columbus is falling under, I think, the Housing Authority and Joe Bajorski, which connects to Lawndale, which the town pretty much will no longer own in probably the next few months. But yes, there is a current plan being developed to be able to connect the backside of Percival Soccer to Town Hall.
Excellent. I just have one more question about one more parcel of property nearby there. Along the Bill Pettit baseball field, there's a corner property between the cul-de-sacs of Timberwood and Ellsworth Boulevard, and I'm just curious as to if that falls under your purview or the Conservation Commission or what have you.
That's probably going to fall under DPW.
Okay.
Because that might be in lieu of open space, which would also fall under Jim Mahoney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if it even falls under conservation or not. It's something we could look into and get back to you.
Yeah, I bring up that piece of property only because, you know, if you're going to be connecting from Town Drive and such through over Robbins Road, that's a small connector that would essentially connect two pretty large neighborhoods and give them the ability to not only navigate potentially to the baseball field without using a main road, but even down to the town hall.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, Peter, do you want to give me your phone number and I can check about the property on Pettit and get back to you, or?
Yeah, please. My phone number is 203 715 7321.
Okay.
And I guess, I'm just trying to get a feel from the commission if an initiative to, make, Berlin more walkable, or establishments of simple trails or rail trails or anything like that. I know rail trails can be kind of costly. But even more primitive, quote unquote, hiking trails, even utilizing like around railroad pond or properties we already have to kind of, benefit the community, I suppose.
So, Peter, great idea. Actually, you're the first one to come in front of us asking for that. Not sure if Jen has heard from other citizens just on the side, but a lot of our time, obviously with Pistol Creek, which is obviously on the other side of town, there was significant grant monies that were given to the town to improve the walking trails there. And that's really where we've, kind of focused on perfecting the walking trails. But, perhaps as other people get involved and have ideas, that could be something that the commission or the town council look at into the future.
Okay. Well, thank you. I mean, and that was kind of my question, if there's been any demand or any talk of this. And, when I think about Railroad Pond, I'm kind of thinking, you may not be familiar, but Manchester had something referred to as the Hockingham River Trail, which was a slight hiking trail that would follow the Hockingham River through town. Very basic, very low cost, but was a very valuable recreational asset to the area. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So we need more community support. All right. No, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's good. Berlin is loaded with the hiking trails, obviously, but more mountain type and hills and things like that. But for the railroad and the railroad pond and things like that, I'm sure it's something that once things get going in this town for development, there'll be more requests that way. And we'll see how that goes.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, Peter.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you, Peter.
Yep. Peter, you can hang on. We're going to continue with our meeting, and or you can hang up. Either way.
Oh, I'll hang out.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Okay. Can we entertain approval of the December 10th minutes? A motion, please.
I motion to accept the December 10 minutes.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to read them. A second.
Second.
Okay. Tony seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Dinesh?
Yeah. I said aye.
Yeah, I see him. Okay. All right. Nothing on the consent agenda for tonight, so we'll move right into Parks and Grounds. Who do you want to give them report?
Woody, you're muted.
And you're muted.
That was on purpose. I was trying to make it quick. It's pretty much the same as every other month. The only thing that was out of the ordinary is we replaced the plastic on the greenhouse for the first time in several years. So that's good and ready to go to start growing some annual flowers come March. The light pole at Scalise is back up, bolted, secured, and that's good. Going to be ready to go for the spring season. We fixed some playground equipment. We had a new swing. We were still waiting for some swing parts to come in for Timberland, and then that should be online within the next couple of weeks. I can go into the work completed on the fields in 2020 if you guys would like to, or if you want to just hold it off till next meeting.
So as you guys asked, Don had mentioned when we have the field user meeting discussion next meeting, it would be good for them to know exactly what Steve and his crew have done on the ground. Steven prepared this one-page document that kind of covers everything he did in the past year that he was able to do and really get those fields up to par. it was sent to you if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, this was one of the things I was planning to put in the packet that we're going to give to the field users next month.
I think that's great. That was a great idea, Don. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually looked at that. Great job, Wood.
All right. Then the other thing is, Donna, you asked last month for a couple of breakdowns of some fields for the costs for the year. I did it for the fields that we use 2 or 3 utilities at, being electricity, water, fertilizer. I left out of it like the mowing and the general maintenance as part of the quantitative number, just because I don't think it really adds value. Because if nobody used the park or 100,000 people use the park, we're still going to mow it and take care of it the same way. It really comes down to the chemicals that were used, the amount of water, depending on the summer, and the electricity. Does that sound okay for you? Jen's going to send out the document tomorrow. We just finished it today.
Yeah, I think that's great to know. The other costs are fixed. You might want to, and I'll leave it up to you guys and maybe the commission if they want it, but it might, just as a side, we have obviously our labor and fixed costs, the maintenance costs, and just in total per the budget, it's X thousands of dollars, whatever it is.
Right.
Don't even go into detail. Just say those are fixed costs. These are more variable. That we just wanted to, alert you guys how much the town really spends on these fields every year. Yeah.
And I think that has value, but like baseball and Percival soccer, where the guy goes in and mows it for minutes each, 30 minutes for Berlin baseball,
Yeah.
30 minutes. It just, when it all adds up at the end, it accumulates to something and has a quantitative value, but it just, breaking it out that way, I don't think is going to be beneficial.
Yeah, no, I think just, one number for all maintenance and all fields, just have that in the, on an envelope type of thing.
Like
Yeah.
as a maintenance miscellaneous cost thing, Donna? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the fixed costs. It's the staff and the maintenance. Like you said, time doesn't matter. We're going to have those costs anyway for right now. So yeah, that's what it is. Yep.
That completes the Parks and Grounds report.
Stephen, because I missed last week's meeting at Percival, can you I didn't even put on the agenda, but can you just give a quick update about the tests at Percival that were done?
Yep,
I
no
forgot
problem.
to make that a standing item on this.
Yep. We met with WMC last week. The guys went out. We dug 21 test pits, trying to figure out exactly what kind of soil there, what kind of clay there was, if it was rocky, if it was shale, if it was a lot of boulders. What we found throughout the whole entire field is there is absolutely no topsoil, except for about an inch plus the sod that was installed back in 1997, which pretty much gave us 3 inches of topsoil, which didn't amount to much. When we went on the far side closest to Town Hall, where all the sinkholes are, we thought there was a lot of organic matter that was causing the problem. This field was constructed prior to me working for the town of Berlin. And what we found is, prior to the neighborhood being built, they cut down all the trees, laid them down. Then there must have been a lot of rock and shale, and they had a company come in and blast it. Then they took the blasting and they pushed everything towards the town hall side. Okay? So now you have all the organic matter mixed with the Kensington clay below it, the organic matter of trees, brushes, whatever else was there, and then you have a whole layer of all blastings, loose shale, gravel, and then on top of that is the good, I wouldn't even say good, it's clay mixed with rock, and that's up for about the next 4 feet. So what we think has happened throughout the years is, with the organic matter deteriorating below, and then fine little holes and particles being in the trap rock and the blastings, the soil is the dirt is just sifting its way through, and all the fine particles, which are causing all the undulations in the field. So we're working with WMC to come up with what the best way to attack that is. Budgetarily, I think we're going to be short, because we're looking at adding somewhere between 3 and 6 inches of topsoil throughout the whole entire field to try to give it some type of an adequate playing surface.
So what does that mean from a budget standpoint? Like, what do we have to do?
I think we're budgeted for somewhere around $200,000. And on the conservative side, I think we're looking at $300,000 to probably do the field correctly.
And at this point, right now, it's a waiting game. We're waiting to see what WMC gets all the results back, and we have weekly meetings with them. So we'll be discussing, we'll be involving Kevin Delaney, the finance director, to see where we're at finance-wise, budget-wise.
And the good news though is on Sage 1, right? The costs are under what was put into the budget, the so-called bond budget. So maybe there's money there that you can use if needed.
That's one of the possibilities we're looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
meet with the company and also discuss excavating the whole entire area, which is 45 feet by 300 feet of digging a pit, and then leveling that out and pushing that towards the backside of Town Hall where that gentleman we just spoke about having the walkway. And just to excavate the soil that is there, we're looking at 2,400 yards of material and somewhere in the ballpark of $50,000.
It's unbelievable, huh? Jesus, correct. What you find underground.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So for Percival though, is the goal, again, it might change, but is the goal to have it playable in the fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to start construction as soon as we can in the spring and then be open for the fall.
Right. Okay.
Fantastic.
Going into the Sage 1 update, we're very good on that front. We had a meeting this week. We're tying up loose ends. We're, approving the punch list, and we'll most likely be, shutting down until the spring when we'll do training with the scoreboard, training with the staff. But for the most part, I think it's just little odds and ends, like pieces of a fence that need to be altered, and everything else is 90%, 95% done.
And if you haven't had a chance to go out there and look at it or walk it or check it out, I mean, the shed that was delivered last week is absolutely enormous. It'll definitely hold all of the equipment for Berlin High School while also letting Berlin Little League be able to use the existing shed that was constructed by the boys, the Eagle Scout.
Okay, great. Good use. Just a thought. I know that, I think the last meeting, Tony, you brought up that the parents of the seniors this year, are looking to donate something to that field, right? I don't know if they've decided or anything, but I'm just thinking a little long term that with the funds that are available for the building, with the water being put and toilets being put into a building there for Sage 1, there's a good chance a concession stand would be available then, because we'd have running water. That's something, and again, it's, Woody, I don't know if you thought of other things, but that's something that they may want to, help fund or try and fund, is, the needs of what a concession stand may need, so.
Steve and I met, and we actually came up with a bunch of ideas with Tony, and, sent them to Tony too, so I know he's got other ideas too.
Yeah, no, they gave me the ideas. I passed it on. Now the softball boosters have an enormous amount of cash to spend this spring, and they plan on spending all of it, not only on their team for scholarships, whatever. I don't know what else they're going to do, but they're completely committed to giving something back. We're going to see them online with us in the March meeting when they come in and ask to put banners up on that Sage 1.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully by then they'll have a better idea. They haven't told me what they decided yet, but we'll see. It'll be something. I just don't know what yet.
Okay. And I'm not sure if any of those things will require the commission to vote on them or accept it or whatever, but that's something obviously Jen and Woody.
Yeah, they will all be donations, so they need to go through council and commission and council.
Yeah.
So before they do it, make sure they kind of have whatever they need to pass it through us then.
Yeah.
So when someone makes a statement about an enormous amount of money, I think that we should partner with them, try to earmark something that's needed over there, right? I mean, they're the one that started the whole thing around, this new facility. And if they really want to make it what I would say, exceptional, there's things that still need to be done. We should try to tap into that money.
let's say enormous being relative, okay? Donnie, you know how all the teams, they all have their own accounts. And
Right.
some have 1,000, some have 5,000. Right now, softball boosters has the most, even more so than football.
Yep. Well, then that's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
That's
because
really good.
they've been raising money all since last spring for going to a trip to Florida last spring, which got
Right.
canceled. So they had that money to spend, plus the money they partnered with me on the fundraiser we just had for the boosters. So they made, half of that money as well. So
they've done that with that group. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying, rather than just, I'm just making a suggestion. I mean, I'm not the booster president, you are, Tony. So, but you're on the Park and Rec, so there's correlation if anything. So I'm just saying that if
I've been already after them twice already. Believe me.
okay, yeah,
They're
whatever.
not-
I'm sure. I'm just,
Jen and Woody, the list that you provided to Tony, though, are those all major projects?
They're not projects. They're kind of additions to the field. Off the top of my head, Woody, you probably have a better recollection. Tony, I don't know if they're receptive of any of them, but
Yes, they were. And when I gave it to them, it was before they got this money they got from this fundraiser.
Okay.
So now with this money, I'm hopeful they're going to take on one of those projects.
that's good. That's good. But again, I think
Timing too of the projects. So if they're projects, I don't know, how big of a project they are, but
right, but I just think we need to be smart about the project, right? If the project is to plant tulips versus trying to put cabinets inside a concession stand, that's a big difference in my opinion. So someone needs to help prioritize whatever it is. That's all I'm saying.
if Tony wants to share the ideas we sent him, he can. I mean, I don't off the top of my head, I can't remember everything we sent.
I don't remember off the top of my head either.
Well, I would always come at it like this, Tony, is if they're resistant or anything, just I would say, to make a long lasting impact with this money, so that way the town could be of use to the town for longer than just say something that's short term, like Don said, which is like planting roses or tulips or whatever, or dandelions or whatever. Would probably be the best way to go about it. If you wanted to try to elicit a favorable response.
I think the opportunity we have with this council now is there's a lot of people on this council that have been through the trenches in the past and lived and learned, including myself, right? So where we once used to be so siloed with opportunities, I think we need to be a bit broader now because we know that the funding is not available. So if in fact, Donna, and you've said this many times, there may need to be a time where we have to tap into, and I'm not just talking boosters here for a moment, I'm just talking in general with all of the youth sports in town where they have some additional funds to help out with improvements on whatever those improvements are. I mean,
Right.
you've made that known in some of the committee, the meetings we've had in the beginning of the year with those youth organizations. So whatever opportunities we have.
And I think this is a great example of a group that has funds giving back to the town. So again, depending on what they're doing, it's something to publicize verbally or whatever to let people know, like in the February meeting, we're working with even a high school team to improve things. And they're considering, donating certain items, whatever that might be. But that's exactly what we need to do, especially in this year, because town budgets and, state obviously, they're all going to need a lot of help, and we're not going to get any more money than what we got right now for all these improvements. So
Just to,
I would also jump on real quick and say to Don, we should also be looking at friendly 501c3s that have mission statements that closely align with the mission statement of the commission as well. So that's where you might be getting you can get some parity with the not-for-profit sector as well, because we know that the budget is what the budget is at the end of the day. So whatever, whatever help we can find.
Just to touch base on some of the ideas we gave Tony, is we looked at areas that would improve the field and amenities that would make it stand out that it was Berlin High School's home softball field. That was Jen and I's idea going into this. If there was something we could add a banner to the outfield that would really, emphasize Berlin, home of Berlin softball. If it was something in the bullpens where the catcher is, where you have a map behind you with a big giant B behind you, so when you're having batting practice or pitching the ball to warm up in between innings, it actually looks like a Berlin High School field. Not looking into putting another building, erecting another building or something like that, because we thought the funds were somewhere in the ballpark of $1,500 to $2,000, and that's where we based our budget on. So that's where Jen and I were at, and that's where we steered it. And if we need to retract that and go a different route, we're okay with that as well. But our thing was to make that field.
If it's only $1,500, that's different. But if their budget is over what football is, then they're closer to $20,000. I mean, let's just call it out.
And we are, there are foundations that support softball along with other foundations in town. So, there's no doubt there's a lot of money there. So.
Yeah, right. Whatever. I just think we have an opportunity, and it's not just with Tony. It's not just with Tony's group. It's with a lot of others.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you guys thought about that, the Berlin High School Redcoats, and making it. I think that's a beautiful thing to do. Just like at Scalise, it looks great. Everybody knows it's a Berlin field, and so I think that would be certainly something that we would welcome. So, okay. Okay, so great. So stage one is just closing up some major issues, and they will be ready to play on this spring, God willing, that they can play. Great.
So Donna, I'm sorry, just one last clarifying question on the field. So they are going to get running water?
Supposedly part of the grant is the 500,000 whatever.
Yeah, it's $500,000 for the building and infrastructure to provide running water for toilets.
Perfect.
So it's obviously they're going to have sinks. So
yeah,
there will be running water again. Once all that's finalized and bid on and all that kind of stuff, it'll be a little while. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So going into the field users meeting discussion that we're planning for next meeting, we already talked about Steve's list of everything he did on the fields. I have to close my door. I've talked about the prices that Steve came up with, and the costs and everything. We're also going to mention to them about the fee changes and make sure they have that in writing. I've revamped the form every year. We also need to let them know about the closure of Percival Field, the new rules surrounding stage one.
And Jen, just so I'm clear, this meeting is our yearly meeting with the youth groups, right? Or people that use the field. It's not the old field committee where nothing got done.
Local groups to show.
I'm sorry?
Usually we only get
She's starting to freeze.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jen.
Am I better?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we invite all field users. Usually the local ones are the ones who show.
Right. Okay. So it's that meeting. Got it.
Bill Pettit will be there.
Right. Yeah. So it's not the other meeting, Donna, that we used to host. Okay. Got it.
Hey, Jen, can you send me, I don't know if you have a list of people, but I'm interested in from soccer. You're going in and out again, Jen, but from soccer, obviously Steve, everybody knows Steve's retiring from our commission. And he really put a lot of focus on soccer. That's something that we may be missing going in the future. So, just kind of keep that going a little bit. But if there's someone from soccer, can you send that they sign up? Can you send?
We may have someone from soccer that is interested in joining the commission. I'm having that conversation tomorrow.
Okay, great. Because that's what I had asked you, right, a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. So, okay, then that's good.
So, hold on, hey,
Can
Jen.
you pass on their name once you have that discussion, Jen?
Yes, I don't want to do it until I have the discussion with them. Yeah.
Okay.
And can we make sure the person's a worker?
What do you mean by worker?
Well, a participator. We don't need
This-
people, we don't need
this-
people that come on the board here, or committee that's not going to participate.
This person will be a participator, I promise
Okay.
you.
Okay, great.
Okay, so that's it for next month's meeting. And the state of Connecticut grant, I mean, I kept it to one page somehow. So instead of me sitting here and going through everything, I wanted to make sure I got this to you guys early. It has all the information that myself or Steve are aware of regarding this grant, and where we stand on it. So any questions, feel free to shoot them out at us, but that's pretty much all the information we know at this time.
Did you guys know that this was coming?
Half of that question.
I'm sorry. I'm just wondering, did anybody know that this was coming?
Not specifically,
We
well,
knew-
I'll speak
Yeah.
for the commission, not specifically, but there have been discussions done in the past where Joe Arasimowitz has gotten up and spoken at even the town council meetings, saying that he is trying to get funds for something. He at one time talked about the new community center. And he was able to get, I think it was $750,000 grant to see that for, pre-building type stuff. And then, and he was looking for more. So I was hopeful, but I had no idea that what the amount would be and what it would fund. But I think the timing was good in the sense that we had come up with a plan earlier this year as a commission and with the department to talk about what is the best thing, even with our town council field committee. And they agreed with it, and we presented that plan long-term. We said, if you're going to do Sage 1 softball, the town has to commit to a turf field at Biscoglio at the high school, which is really should have been done back when the high school was, the new construction was done. But they didn't have the funds at that point in time. So in any event, we presented that plan. Would the council go forward with the turf if Joe didn't come up with the money? Probably not. But that's why we went on the line and we told them, you don't agree to Sage 1 being just softball if you're not agreeing to this, because we need a home for the other youth sports. So, obviously Joe picked up on it and worked whatever he had to do and worked on it and ended up getting the money. So
I don't know if other people have been talking with public out there, but once they understand where the field is being turfed, their conversation changes from being very abrupt to much more politer, because everybody still thinks that we're redoing zip. I mean, not zip, we're redoing Scalise, right.
yeah.
And
That's what it sounds like.
yeah,
That's
mean-
the way the grant was originally publicized. It said redoing Scalise, which was never the case. The money was always for the field behind the high school.
so,
That's the same question the mayor had last week.
right. So, I mean, literally, I must have had about 5 or 6 conversations over the course of once this communication took place. And many of them are with lacrosse parents who are now totally jacked up about it, because now there's an additional opportunity for them. So, which in the past, lacrosse has always kind of been on the side. So I think the more we even can promote it, the better off it's going to be. But it's gone. I mean, it's approved. We're moving forward.
Right.
Right. And that's why I went in front of the council. Because the citizen had come out and said this money was going to be used for Scalise. So that's why I identified the major pieces of the grant. I didn't want to get into the road, quite frankly, and Woody, you know more about this, but when I said Sage Park Road relocation, what the hell is that? I have no idea what that was. That's
I
350
didn't know
grand.
that either.
And that's from many, many years ago, as Woody reminded me. My husband Bart had done a design for Sage, working with some groups to accomplish more fields. And obviously that's not necessary. And so, but I guess Joe needed a placeholder, and that's what it is. It's a placeholder. I would hope it's not going to get done because I have no idea. And my sense is we're going to need some of that money to cover the Scoglio Field and, maybe other things, that we have on our capital project. So, in any event, that's, yeah, I guess I'm going to say this now, because I know, Jen, you're going to bring up the community center later. As a commission, we have to be very careful on how we respond, like on Facebook or wherever else you might respond to things. Just because people get excited, they want to argue. Personally, I don't get into any of that arguments. I just think it's good to be just factual. It's up to the town to decide whether or not they agree with our plan or whatever, but, I wouldn't go back and forth going forward. Hopefully for the community center, there is a communication plan that will be coming out. I don't know if that's the case, but I know I've talked to a couple people about it, to hope that they control things a little bit. And you just point them to that discussion and we go from there. So anyway, just, use common sense when you're responding, if you respond on Facebook to other people.
Well, Donna, what I find funny is, I just want to jump on this really quick, is that whenever people talk about things now, they not necessarily talking about the field and the grants and stuff like that. That's a done deal now. So the fields are going to get done. All that stuff's going to get done. That's already bought and paid for. What I've been talking to people, and I've talked to probably about 30, 40 people in the town already about the senior community center. They come at me hot at first, and they start saying, "Oh, it's going to be a waste of money." This and the other thing. The mayor says this, and the other thing. I said, "Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Look at X, Y, and Z. Look at this. Look at that." And when you start breaking it down for them as to how unsafe the current senior center is, and you start looking at how much how overused our current community center is, and that it's actually a laughing stock of the state, that we have to actually borrow from the library in order to get our community center a functional one. They then start agreeing with us that, oh no, a couple $1 million to a community senior center is actually a good idea, which I find interesting. So it has nothing to do with argumentation or trolling or anything like this, Donna. At the end of the day, it's controlling the narrative. That's what it is.
Right.
It's controlling the narrative.
That's right. And I think there will be a plan. I'm hopeful, like on the community center. We'll get into it a little bit maybe when we get to the community center. But yeah, my point was I wouldn't be argumentative to people, or I personally on Facebook, I kind of hold my breath sometimes. I say I'll sleep on it before I even respond, and then I never respond because it's just go back and forth. It's just a waste of time, and it gets people all agitated. So in any event, fair enough. Okay. Anything else on the grant? Everybody's good?
This does not have to be paid back by anybody in Berlin. It's granted by the state, right? It's
a state grant that is coming to us.
Right.
Yep, it's state money.
Now,
so I think what happens financially is we have to pay and then get reimbursed. At least that's the way they explained it to me when I asked about this.
The project we're doing is reimbursable because that's how the grant is written.
Yeah.
They do it a lot, like road, like.
Jen, you're
In a few minutes, I'm done. I lost it. I froze.
You're coming back. Yeah, you lost again. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we move to Debbie?
Just one other thing on the grant, though, Tony, that you should be aware of it because you're fairly new. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
You're muted,
Okay.
Joe.
All right. Tony, so when the high school project was done, there are extra funds that the town can get from the state and spend that on something. But the costs for the high school all have to be audited by the state, all the construction work and all that. And that will take a while. And maybe this summer, as a town, we'll hear more about that. But my recollection, when I looked at it, there was, a few $1,000,000. So when I went to the council originally for Sage One and for these other projects, I said, you're going to have that money, use that. So if we bond these projects, pay off the bond with the funds for the high school, because that's what it was intended for and you never spent it. And you'll be able to use it, again, state funded. Now with Joe coming up with these grants, the town should have those funds available for something else. Whether it goes to the community center or to other things, roads and things that, maybe we need. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know there is this other pocket of money that's out there.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. All right, Debbie.
All right, I'm here. I did miss the last meeting in December, but my elves and I drove around for 3 hours looking at all the houses that were beautifully decorated. I think it was a fantastic turnout for the town. People got into it. I got a lot of emails after the fact saying what a great thing it was. And one of the winners said they felt like they won the Academy Award because they had won a prize. So, and it was someone who had never done any programs with us. So I think it was a great event for the town, something that they needed right before the holidays. We're going to look to make it bigger and better next year. So yeah, it was fun. Maybe we can get someone to drive us around too, because we had to drive separate. So we had walkie-talkies, but it was hard to comment on things as we were trying to drive. And, I mapped it out, and it was quite tough to do that, but it was fun. And I think the town, there were a lot of decorations out there. So I hope people took advantage of going around and looking at them. So that was good.
Great.
So my, and I don't go on the buzz or any of those. So I don't know what the feedback was. I've heard it was good. Which is good for us because we normally are criticized on there. So I'm happy if it was finally a positive event.
There were a lot of great comments on Facebook on it. Really good comments.
I know one of the things people wanted were like exact addresses of the winners, which I didn't want to get into this year, and maybe it's something we can address with people next year. But I kind of wanted to just give the streets and just have people drive around because there were a lot of houses that were decorated that weren't entered. So it was a great opportunity for people to take their kids and just drive around and see the great lights. So I'm happy that it worked out as well as it did.
Oh, so you didn't put the winners out?
We just put the names, but we didn't put where they actually lived. And
Okay.
I put every street that someone had entered on as like these are the streets, take a ride with your family and look at all the lights. I wasn't that comfortable this year doing that. It's something that we can look into next year, just asking people if they have an issue with that. I don't know if they will or not. Some people might be a little funny about it, but you can Google anyone's name and find out where they live. So if people really wanted to know, they could find out. So I have my monthly report. I don't know if there's any questions that anyone had. I've been getting responses back from the summer staff. I've got about half of summer fund staff returning right now and about half the aquatic staff. So there will be a lot of hiring this year if we are going to run our programs. But it's because it's really a 2-year gap. We always have additional hires on a yearly basis, but now that we're really 2 years, because we only opened one pool last year, we'll be hiring a lot if we do our full program where we open both pools and try to run our summer camp.
Right.
And that I've been working on updating the job descriptions because of some of the new training that the town is requiring. So I just about completed those. So I will start advertising next week to try to get information out and have people start applying. And then we'll just have to see where we go once we get closer to the spring to see what kind of restrictions are in place and, what curveballs are going to be thrown at us. So that's about it. I mean, I kind of explained everything, but I also have been working on an alternative to our Easter candy hunt. I think I have a pretty good, it's a secret right now, but I think I have a pretty good alternative for this year. Getting a little help from Mr. Wood from the Parks and Grounds Department, and I think it'll work. It'll be outside. We will not be able to hold anything inside. So we'll see what happens. Been trying to get some ideas from other groups online. So
Great.
and we haven't really talked about when we're going to be able to open the community center again. We'll have to have a discussion with Charlie Brown to see his feeling. I think I saw today the positivity rate was down to like 4.5 or something, which was
Today.
a pretty drastic drop, which is, you know, I hope it's a good sign that things will start to calm down after the holidays. But I'd like to get the center back open. I thought we had a great plan, and we had a lot of groups that came in and really liked it and followed everything. And I'd like to get people back in our building. I mean, that's what we're here for. So hopefully sometime in February we can do that.
Okay, good. Any questions for Debbie? Everybody's all set? That was good. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna
Community center?
try and wrap up quick before I freeze again. So I sent out the K&M finished the website and the video, and I sent that out to everyone. It's now linked to our website, and that is the first step in getting it out to the public. The town is probably going to post it up on Facebook either tomorrow or next week. We just got it up today, so we wanted to have everyone take a look at it before we were able to post the announcement that it's available on our website. And QA&M at this time is, you know, just kind of, they want to let that go out for a couple weeks until the numbers continue to go down and we can start having, you know, public sessions to talk about it and go over his presentation. He's still on hold to do those because he really wants to do them in person. And we're hoping in February. We'll start.
Hey, Jen, could you follow up? I know one of the things that the Building Commission talked to Q&A about is the control of the video and comments, where people would be able to ask questions or make comments, but it would be to a controlled site. So even when they do it on Facebook, you know, post on Facebook, all the comments would go to a controlled site and the answers would be provided by Q&A.
Oh, okay. That's news to me. So they may decide not to put it on Facebook then.
Yeah, so I actually showed Bart tonight because you had pointed out that I didn't know it was going to be on the town site. So I looked at it and I said, Jesus, Bart, personally, I could post it on Facebook. Any one of us could.
Right, exactly.
Take it right now and I could send a text to people and say, hey, here's the new community center. So
Right.
It's very loose right now, and this is going to be the issue. We're going to see a lot of comments, positive and negative, and we need to control, as one said, the narrative, right?
Jen, are you frozen again?
Hey, Donna, while she's frozen, can someone tell me? I tried to find that in the spotlight. I couldn't find it. So did you guys see the video? Because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so if you go to in the spotlight.
No, I couldn't find in the spotlight. Where's in the spot?
There's 6 items. So just hit the arrow. And it's the third item in. Third item.
To get to in this, he doesn't know how to get to in the spotlight. To get to in the spotlight, Don, you have, oh, you can't see my computer. You have to scroll down past the pictures, past where it says property tax info, trash and recycling, forms and documents. And then it's on the left side of your screen. It says in the spotlight. It's on the second half of the web page, so you most likely have to scroll down.
I'm looking at it on the tile. I see it now. Never mind. Thank you.
So if you click that, you'll see it. I think they did a fairly good job. So, yeah.
The video is awesome, especially the end where everything's animated when they go around the building. It's really nicely done. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think,
Donna, I'll follow up with,
great. I know Bart just left for the building commission meeting, so hopefully they discuss it as well and make sure. At least that was what the discussion was with Q&A and the building commission before, so.
I think
Otherwise, it's
that
going to
makes
be a
total
free-for-all.
right. And maybe that's why I haven't been given the directive to throw it on Facebook yet.
Right, but I could take that right now and Donna Bove could post it on Facebook right now.
Right, and I'm
that's-
actually shocked I'm shocked it hasn't been out there yet.
It could be.
Yeah.
See, people might not even know that it's buried within the town site. I wouldn't have known, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like to me it's kind of buried a bit.
It is
So I
buried.
mean, if it's not front and center, people aren't gonna.
It's not.
They're not even gonna find it. Let's face it.
Well, I mean, I think that's what I had to ask, and I'm stupid, so it was right in front of my face.
Yep. Yeah, well, you know, there's a lot of factions within our town, and if someone doesn't want something and knows that it's out there, they could throw it out there and start people's juices going a little bit. So, but again, that's going to happen. I think, you know, I would hopeful that there's going to be a control environment, and it's the constructive comments that obviously they're going to respond to. So,
Okay, that's all I have.
okay. Anything else?
Jen, did you finish out doing that,
I emailed with Chris today. We touched base today.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yep.
good. So you're gonna put her on the agenda for next month?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I told her, get her my forms back, that way I can put her on the agenda with the details.
Okay.
So Jen, you're having a conversation with this person tomorrow,
Yeah, hopefully, as long as we touch base, yeah.
and then it's got to go to council, correct?
Yes, what I'll have, if he's interested, he'll fill out the application and I'll deliver it to the town clerk's office. And I don't know if it would be this Tuesday or if it would be the following one. Because technically, do they have to wait until after January 31st to appoint someone because Steve is still here till January 31st? I'm not sure.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? I think, Dana, if we could, I think we should put something in the minutes to thank Steve officially on his service to our Park and Rec Commission for 12 years. And just to conclude that in the minutes, and obviously that we all wish him the very best and thank him for his volunteer efforts.
Of course.
Yep, I talked to him today.
What did he say?
He's happy he did it, and he just thinks it's time to get some new blood in and have somebody else new come in.
Got it.
But he was very
I'm right there with him.
He was very thankful for his time, and he's glad he was a part of it.
Yeah, no, understand.
He did tell me that he, you know, he said after talking about fields, it's someone else's turn to take that over, you know, so that's why it's going to be great with the turf field, because as Woody and Jen have put together, you know, so, soccer should be covered for its current needs and for even the needs that we know about. So,
Don,
in any event.
Don, he did say you may have to motion to adjourn in his absence.
Oh, because I'm the old, well, I think I was the oldest before Steve, right? Because I think I have more than 12 years. I don't know how many years it's been. I know today I celebrated my 36th at Etna, so I know I'm the older guy. 36 years. Yeah. Wow.
Geez, Don, you must be of that age now. You must be eligible for the vaccine, for God's sakes. Go
I
get it.
think I'm getting close now.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
What's the second? Okay. And Andrew seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Hey, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Good night.
Talk to you later. Yep, bye.